Greetings and salutations, my fellow Illuminators. It is me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you again with another Lorcana video. They have finally done it. They have released the format for the first ever Disney Lorcana World Championship, and man, oh man, what a doozy it is. And I am beyond excited to participate as a broadcaster in this historic event because I think it's going to be spectacular. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, tune in. I'll tell you everything you need to know about the first ever Disney Lorcana World Championship. But before we hop in, make sure you go ahead and like this video and subscribe to this channel. And I know in the intro I said format, but actually there's going to be formats. I was wondering how they were going to do this, and I think they exceeded my expectations by making this event feel a little bit different from any other tournament that I can remember happening, especially in an IRL TCG capacity. So I'll go ahead and break it down for you. So there will be two aspects of the Disney Lorcana World Championship. There will be two formats. We will have what they call super sealed. So they are adding limited to the World Championship format. So how it's going to work, each Illuminator will be given 4 packs of Shimmering Skies, 4 packs of Azurite Sea, 4 packs of Arcasius Island, and 4 packs of Reign of Jafar. They'll then have 60 minutes to complete a 3-color 50-card deck, of which will be their deck that they have to register for the tournament. They're going to be locked in on that deck for the entire event. However, in between games, the remaining cards that they have from their card pool, they can use as a side deck or a sideboard. So this is an interesting first step. This is the first thing I've heard of Disney Lorcana formally acknowledging the idea of a sideboard, of a side deck, or a side deck in an official tournament capacity, and they're going to introduce that at the World Championship. What does that mean for the future? Will that be something that other formats can start to adopt? Will we ever see sideboards? I personally hope not, but in this format, I think it's going to be very unique because it's going to give players a little bit more freedom to build their decks and to have more consistent matchups, because there is a random aspect of the packs that you get in the sealed portion. So at least you have the opportunity to change your strategy to face off against what your opponent may deliver to you in that tournament. After that round is over, the players will have to revert back to their original deck they submitted with the 50 cards that they initially started with. So I think that is really cool. I think that is a super slam dunk, but that is only the first aspect. That is only the first half. You're going to have several rounds of the new super sealed, and then we're going to get into the main crux of the tournament, which is going to be the triple deck constructed. This right here is super interesting as well. And I have some thoughts about this, and I know people around the community have some thoughts about the triple constructed or triple deck format. Basically, if you don't know what it is, each player must submit 3 decks. Within those 3 decks, you must represent each color in Disney Lorcana. Example, Amber Steel, Emerald Amethyst, Ruby Sapphire. Those can be your decks, but they cannot overlap. You cannot use a color twice. When you sit down to play, there will be open deck lists. Your opponent will have access to the 3 decks that you have submitted. They'll look at it, and then at that time, each player will be able to bench one of their opponent's deck list. So if there's a deck that they don't want to play against, they can just get rid of it for that entire round. At that point, each player will simultaneously reveal the deck that they're going to play that round, and then you will engage in the tournament. And I think that is really, really neat. If you win, you have to switch over to your last remaining bench deck, and you got to win on your secondary bench deck. If you lose, same thing. You switch over to your secondary non-bench deck, and then you'll play another round. Whoever lost gets to go first on that next round. And then whoever wins in that 3-game format takes it down. So you have to win on your 2 remaining decks in order to win that round. And I do think that is very cool. Initially, when I first heard about this format, I was on the fence about it because I personally would like to see the best players doing their very best, doing the thing that got them to that event. But now I understand, listening to the explanation that was given by Rochelle and Greg earlier, you want a full, well-rounded Illuminator who can't just do one thing, but they must be a master of all of the inks and the sealed portion. So it's almost like a culmination event, a capstone, if you will, of the World Championship. And I think whoever gets it will truly deserve it. And another interesting twist is that in the finals of this triple deck constructed format, it's going to be a best of 5. So you cannot bench in the finals. All of the decks have to be played, and you have to win a best of 5 series with every single deck getting into the lineup. And I think that is super poetic and cool, and I am absolutely looking forward to it. I am not gonna lie. And I know some people are going to be upset. This format does straight up punish players who are only known for a certain type of strategy or only do a certain thing. Because if I see a player that has one deck that they are primarily going to be playing, if they show up to the tournament with that deck in the Swiss portion or in the triple deck Swiss portion of the tournament, I'm immediately going to throw it out, and they're not going to have a chance to use that, and they're going to have to figure out another way to get to those wins. There could be also ways that we can't see quite yet that could be available to potentially exploit this format. If you can manage to ban certain things or include certain things in your constructor strategy that you wouldn't necessarily play in any other event, but you have this format and you're going to be able to use that to your biggest benefits. I hear some of the cons about it, and they're like, hey, I don't want to leave it to chance. I don't want to leave it to fate. I think it's unfair because certain players don't have this type of thing, or people didn't know about it, and now you have to, people have, maybe people don't have access to as many cards as others, and they might not have the ability to get 3 complete decks or in that amount of time since so many new cards are coming out. I don't foresee that being a tremendous problem. I know the community is pretty tight knit and people can source those cards if they need it. Hit me up. I can give you the cards that you need. If you're a Worlds qualified player and you don't have access to these cards, let me know. I can definitely loan you some decks. Personally, I will be in the building. If you need those there, I'll do that for you. But I understand I do understand the complaints, and I can see both sides, but I am absolutely excited for it. I think the pros for sure outweigh the cons. I think that in a format like this, you want to be able to showcase a nice wide variety of different unique strategies. You want to test your player pool to see if they have what it takes to meet these challenges and rise up. And if they can't, then maybe they didn't deserve to be the world champion anyway. Maybe it'll just encourage people to try unique things instead of just having just the same decks over and over and over and over and over again. It's going to really force people out of their comfort zone, and I think overall it's going to be a really cool, exciting tournament, and I'm ready for it. On your local level, usually tournaments like this, the World Championship, is going to be a spectacle, and typically those strategies and ideas tend to trickle down to the greater community at large, and they can adopt some of those strategies to incorporate into their own games. However, I don't think that is going to be the case from this event. I believe the players that load these decks into this tournament will be specifically designed for this unique tournament, and it will not be able to be duplicated and mass produced into the greater field at large for Disney Lorcana. So I don't think that's going to happen how it does in the DLCs and in the North American Continental Championships and things of that sort, where you can have these high profile players making these high profile decks and then adopting them and making your own strat. That probably won't happen here, but still, I think potentially if your local game store is going to use a triple deck constructed format for maybe a league night or maybe some type of 1K tournament or something like that, I think it could be an incredible amount of fun. And it's something that I am looking forward to trying myself, because it seems like an interesting wrinkle to do the thing that we already enjoy doing at large. So it's a win-win all around. Again, I think it is a slam dunk. I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. I think the sealed is huge. I think that the triple deck format, I think it's going to be an interesting thing. I'm personally super excited for it as a viewer, as a spectator, but moreover as a broadcaster, because I get to be there and I get to see it all go down. I'm still super going to be very, very excited. And I think that the best player involved is probably going to come out on top. What do you guys think? Are you excited for the World Championship that's going to be here June 28th and 29th? It is a very interesting thing. I know some people are going to be incredibly upset about it. Some people are going to be genuinely over the moon happy about it. But as always, make sure you guys get down in the comment section and let me know. I'm JDZ. I'm on a quest. Shout out to the real ones. Salute to the OGs. Peace.